If Confucius says, I know the problem, but I can solve it. We're not on the way, but I know what the way is. How does he know what the way is? And I'm not going to answer that question, because I don't think Confucius really can answer the question how I know what the way is, but what he can answer is where I know the way from. He's saying there's a source from which we can know how we have to be today. And what's the source? The source is antiquity, his antiquity. Confucius is one of the first people to say the answers lie in antiquity, even though for Confucius, antiquity was 500 years before the founding of the Zhou dynasty. They knew something then. They were doing something then that guaranteed that they would be on the right path. Confucius says, Haogu mini chojer, I like antiquity and I am good at seeking it. He says at another point, he says, Shuar buzol, I transmit, I do not innovate. Confucius is convinced that he is taking something that was real, that was in the past, and bringing it into the present and pointing us our direction to it. And what is it? And here, I'm going to give you the answer that Confucius has, and you're not going to find it very exciting. Well, his answer is that it's ritual. Not very exciting, the Chinese word li. And he means rituals very much in the sense of rituals. For example, a ceremony, a marriage ceremony, right? Where people have roles, they practice, they learn the roles, and by carrying out the ritual, they actually change the situation. They now become married to each other. Or think of a larger ceremony, a church service, or a commencement at a university. Think of ceremonies as occasions where people have many different roles to play. And each person learns their proper role and carries it out in harmony with others. And thus, together, they make something happen. They complete something. That's ritual. Now extend that concept of ritual to daily life. Think of it in terms of your relationship with your parents, with your siblings, with your colleagues, with your friends. Think of that as an occasion where we have roles to play and the other party has roles to play. And that ritual enactment, all through our lives, those rituals of daily practice are in fact what keeps us together as people and keeps us, so to speak, out of harm's way in our relationships with others. So Confucius at one point takes up this issue of ritual and applies it. He applies it to government. He said, well, somebody asks him, what's the key to good government? He says, no problem at all. He says, let the ruler act as a ruler should act. The father act as a father should act. The son act as a son should act, and so on. That's all it takes to have a good society. Let people play their roles, even though he could recognize that perhaps they weren't playing those roles in the present.